Hey there guys, it's Loser Gamer here. This isn't a video I normally do, but I thought, hey, I want to try things new, so let's make a video talking about a game I love at the moment. AKA today we are talking about Marvel Rivals. Just in case you guys are unfamiliar with the game or have been living under a rock for the past few months, Marvel Rivals is the newest 6v6 hero shooter to come onto the scene. It works similar to the original Overwatch, but only in the basics of a 6v6. Other than that, Marvel Rivals is its own game with fun mechanics. As a quick catch up, I'm going to devise characters into certain groups called Duelist, Vanguard, and Specialist. The Duelists are DPS characters, or damage per second, where they have an okay amount of health and do a lot of tick damage. The Vanguards do heavy damage with super amounts of health, aka the tanks. It takes a while to eliminate those guys. And lastly, Specialists are support characters to do heals and buffs to their allies. They are the backbone of the team. With all that out of the way, this is my list of 10 new additions to Marvel Rivals that I really want to see in the game, along with a special bonus edition. So in total, that's 11 characters that I hope to see. Along with this list, I made a whole moveset they can use. So you can tell I put some effort and time here. Now, keep in mind, I am not the most in-depth comic reader, and I don't know all the lore. So if I get things wrong, feel free to eat me alive in the comics. I'd really appreciate that. With that being said though, let's begin with the list. Number 1, Carnage. I want to see Carnage enter the game. We have 3 spider reps along with a map and Null on the way. And even though Miles might be on the way too, I think adding Carnage with this art style and these fighting mechanics would be the biggest win for NetEase ever. So I want to see Carnage as a duelist. Yes, a duelist, with his normal attack being a red whip that allows him to hit up to 3 people close up to him. The first ability I thought of is called Blood Sense. I thought him having a power to sense players through walls and structures would be interesting, like he's hunting them down. As a second ability, I called it Red Lance. Its function would be to shoot out a lance like a tendril, dealing a decent amount of damage. It would work in a similar vein to Namor's Wrath of the Seven Seas. As a third ability, I thought a Pounce would be great. You know, like Carnage has iconic panels of him jumping through the air, so why not have him jump from afar or off walls in a similar vein to Wolverine in his Feral Leap? For Carnage's last ability, I want to do something a bit different. Since he's a villain and most of the time works very alone, I want Carnage to feel like he can operate on his own. So ability 4 is called Ravenous Regen. Carnage creates a swinging axe on his hand, swinging it around, healing himself with every damage he inflicts, allowing him to be self-sustained. For his special, I feel like it's a no-brainer to call it Absolute Carnage. And yes, before comic nerds tell me this ability is not how it works in the comics, yes, I know, but the name sounded cool and it's iconic for him, so I chose it. Anyways, what the special does is create a lash of tendrils and weapons made from the symbiote. It would work in a similar vein to Star-Lord's special or Reaper's ult in Overwatch, dealing damage in all directions. Number 2, Nightcrawler. I am a big Nightcrawler fan. I fell in love with him with X-Men Evolutions when I was a kid. And so for an X-Men rep, I want Nightcrawler to be top of the list. He has potential for this game that I might not be able to fully realize, but I think it would be amazing. Nightcrawler should be a duelist, with his normal attack being his dual sabers. It's his iconic comic weapons, and it makes sense for the game. For his first ability, it should be a no-brainer that he's able to teleport. Maybe it can work like Moon Knight's Ancient Ankh, where you can see where it'll be before placing it down. For Nightcrawler, it could work like you can see a purple cloud where you're aiming, and then poof, you teleport where you were aiming at. For second ability, I want to go into Nightcrawler's acrobatics. I want to show off his flexibility. So the second ability would be something where it allows him to bounce off surfaces or leap forward, again, like Wolverine's Feral Leap. And while on the topic of acrobatics, I thought another ability of him jumping around would be good. So instead of jumping or leaping, let's have him dodge. able to shove himself out of the way to avoid getting hit or create distance. I think a name like Uncanny Flip would be clever, since in the comics at the moment, he is the Uncanny Spider-Man, I think. His last ability that I could think of would be an extra attack, but with his tail. Maybe it can be used as an added attack or extra swing to get in that last bit of damage to confirm a kill. I mean, Nightcrawler uses his tail quite a bit in the comics like this, so it wouldn't be an out there idea. Lastly, as a special, I thought an ability where Nightcrawler is able to teleport around at rapid speed, increase attack speed for a short period of time, in a similar vein to Psylocke's Dance of the Butterfly. It's a rough idea, but let me know what you guys think in the comments. Number 3, Deadpool. Okay, so we all know Deadpool is likely going to join the game at some point or another. I think when he does join, he might be a Vanguard. But hear me out and let me cook with a duelist Deadpool. For his normal attack, I gave Deadpool his iconic dual Uzis that shred through HP at fast rates, but probably don't kill. For his first ability, Deadpool should be able to use his katanas, so maybe katana slashes up close that finish off whoever they shred down could be a fun idea. I think a funny name for this would be Chop Chop, because he went Chop Chop. His second ability is called Whoops, I Dropped Something. Just as the name says, Deadpool does indeed drop something. It's a grenade. I want to give Deadpool this mechanic to make the battle area more chaotic and diverse, allowing him to break structures easier and or move enemies off of a point if he needs. It could really be devastating and funny in battle. As a third ability, I want to show off Deadpool's skilled eye with Bullseye, where Deadpool can throw a dagger that deals a good chunk of damage. This could also be a good way to confirm a kill after dealing so much damage with his Uzis. Deadpool should obviously have a passive that allows him to regain health once he reaches 0. I was thinking he regains 75% health back, considering his healing factor is stronger than Wolverine's, so it makes sense that he regens more than him, since Wolverine regens 50% once he reaches 0. And lastly, his special, Maximum Effort. This should be Deadpool pulling a large bazooka out from hammer space and launching it at the area of his choosing, creating a giant blast. This could be devastating and turn the tides of any battle he's in. Number 4, Sentry. Now, I don't know much about Sentry, besides him just being Marvel's Superman, but even that is a misinterpretation at times. But for this, I'm going to treat him as such. Again, I don't know much about him, I haven't read any comics with him, besides a few things I heard and read for this video. I think since Sentry is coming to the MCU pretty soon, it would be a really easy thing for NetEase to want to bring him in to the game soon. So, in my opinion, Sentry should be a Vanguard, with his main attack being his raw, heavy fist, just punching through his enemies, dealing a significant amount of damage but at a slow rate. Before I go into his ability, I want to mention a type of charge he has, similar to like Wanda or Mantis. The passive I want Sentry to have is light charges. These will be used into his abilities. With the more charges he has, the stronger the ability can be once used. These charges do get consumed and can't recharge throughout the match. With that out of the way, I think his first ability should be a light blast, allowing him to shoot light from his hands. Maybe using a certain amount of charges for the blast can put an enemy really low, or it can be used to kill confirm. For his second ability, it should allow Sentry to use the charges to increase his strength and hit even harder for a short period of time. And lastly, for his third ability, a dash skill to, let him gain ground faster. Maybe he can use this on foot or flying. It could work similar to Deathstroke's dash from Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. For his special, Sentry should have a chance to just go on a rampage and hit nearly insta-kills on every opponent. Just punching and showing how brutal he really can be. But this is wishful thinking and probably too OP. Number 5, Howard the Duck. So, as of writing this, What If Season 3 has yet to air, and I know literally nothing about Howard the Duck, besides him being a duck with hands and a classy guy. As a rough idea, I think Howard should be a specialist. Maybe he can use a gun that shoots stims to heal allies, in a similar way Doc shoots stims in Siege. Maybe a briefcase that acts like a healing turret that shoots margaritas to heal his allies. I don't know. Something fun that would show his classy side, or just how goofy he could be. I think he would be a really funny pick. After Jeff, you know? Number 6, Yellow Jacket. I grew up with Yellow Jacket being Hank Pym from the early 2000s show Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and I haven't read the comics. But if it's the same, then I for sure love the character arc. However, I think Yellow Jacket from the 2015 Ant-Man film would work way better here. When looking up Yellow Jacket, it seems the comics agree the new design is pretty cool. So, just to clear up the rant, this Yellow Jacket is targeted for the 2015 Ant-Man style. We good? Awesome. I think this Yellow Jacket could be a vanguard, with the main attack being the back needles or pincers that claw enemies that are in front of him. In a similar way, Venom uses his main attack. His first ability should utilize these pincers, so it should be able to fire a precise shot. For his second ability, I still like the idea that villain characters should feel like they can be self-sustained on their own, like they don't need the hero support. So the secondary ability, Yellow Jacket, would have self-repair, where maybe the pincers would start to repair the armor and in turn restore 25 HP or so, maybe? I don't know. The third ability, in my opinion, is more of a stretch, but maybe it can release hovering robotic hornets that act as turrets, similar to how Namor summons octopi. And his last ability, it really should be like Ant-Man and Wasp when they're shrinking. So for the shrinking ability that I came up with, it could be where they turn small for tactical retreat or for a heavy hitting melee attack. It's a bit of a rough idea, but it's just what I got, and it seems like it would be fun. Obviously, the suited up guy dressed as a Yellow Jacket should be able to fly, so flight should be his passive. Lastly, his special would be a similar move to Iron Man's Unibeam, where the stingers or pincers charge up a blast and release it as a unibeam that can be directed around, but it would last longer and hit for more damage, so it isn't entirely like Iron Man, you know? It's what I got so far, but you guys let me know in the comments if you have any other ideas. Number 7, Vulture. With the non-direction the MCU has with their Vulture, I feel like it's time we give him some sort of justice here. And let's not make him a fully mech suit, but keep that goofy design from the Spider-Man comics. With that, I think Vulture could be a vanguard. Yes, a vanguard. Let me cook again, okay? Similar to how some characters have 2 attacks, I think Vultures have 2 attacks. It could be left click, fires feathers that make him act as DPS, but it's his right click, the second attack, that hits a lot harder. So for the second attack, it could be a double kick. Vulture is a bird, he isn't strong on the floor. So similar to Iron Man, Vulture should stay passively flying and not touch the ground, but to get close and attack with his kicks. That's what Vulture usually does. The first ability I gave him could work like a swoop mechanic, where Vulture rushes and cuts at enemies he slides past. The one downside to it would probably be he's left on the enemy lines alone, which would be why his health has, an abundance of. He would be stronger and able to take that type of damage to be left alone for a little while. Vulture's second ability could be him getting close and flailing his wings in a slashing motion. He's done this before in the comics, and I've seen some panels. It wouldn't be far off. He could be cutting down enemies a lot faster. A third ability can be a little goofy, but for the one I gave him in my idea, I can see Vulture, picking up his enemies using his feet, carrying them off, and, getting them off the point. It would probably make him vulnerable to attacks and other damage, but it would be pretty funny. Lastly, his special could be something of him dropping down to the ground like a crashing meteor, doing area damage. It's rough, but let me know what you guys think. Number 8, Taskmaster. Alright, so Taskmaster's moveset is admittedly bad, but I tried with what I knew about him. Obviously, Taskmaster would be a Vanguard. He is the strongest melee fighter in the Marvel Universe in my opinion, copying techniques. So, combining certain movesets from other heroes in the game would be something Taskmaster could do. Like, maybe Taskmaster has a spare trident that he has and can only throw it as an ability. Or he uses his iconic sword and shield as a normal attack, and a bow and arrow as a secondary attack. Lastly, the special could be where Taskmaster shows off his arsenal and gets an increased attack speed, damaging players with their own weapons that Taskmaster has. It's a work in progress and wouldn't work for characters like Wanda or Cloak and Dagger or even Jeff, but for the more physical type fighters. Again, work in progress, but let me know what you guys think for Taskmaster. Number 9 and 10, Wiccan and Speed. With the recent resurgence of these characters thanks to Marvel's Agatha all along, I think it's time we give them a real spotlight to shine, to really show how strong these characters can be. Wiccan. Wiccan should be a specialist. I have a feeling when Vision comes to the game, he would also be a specialist. But I have an awesome idea for him as a Vanguard for a later video, if you guys want to see that. Anyways, back to my point, Wiccan should be different from the Scarlet Witch, who is a duelist. Wiccan in general is more compassionate than his mother, thus he should be a healer, able to shoot blue spells to heal allies and her enemies, which is similar to Dagger's main attack. Like Wanda and her charges, I want to give Wiccan his own charges. So as a passive, Wiccan should have arcane charges that build up over time and can be used to power up his abilities. With that, his first ability should be an arcane bubble that can block damage from the outside, but let you attack from the inside. It would create this scenario where someone is holding down a point but low on HP. Wiccan swoops in, puts down a bubble, and heals his ally, regaining control over the situation. For his second ability, Wiccan should have a little reference back to his origins in the Young Avengers. So, his one offensive ability could be him summoning a bolt of lightning and tossing it at his opponents, kind of like how Fortnite's lightning bolts work. A name to go with the reference could be False as Guardian. A third ability he could use, it should be telekinesis, to shove away enemies or pull allies closer, in a similar reverse way to Moon Knight's grapple. As a fourth and last ability, I think he should be able to use the arcane charges to release this surge of healing to all the allies around him. The amount healed can be determined on the arcane charges used, but it would be a overall area healing move. And as a quick passive, he should have and should always be flying at all times, providing support from the air. Wiccan's special should be reverse of his mother's, since he is a support compared to her damage dealing. So here's my proposal for We Are Mutants, or Reality Creator. The name varies for two reasons. Reality Erasure is the Scarlet Witch's ability, which instantly eliminates all enemies in one move. So for Wiccan's special that I think would be good, and since in the comics he's prophesized to be the one who writes in Demiurge or rewrites reality, I think Reality Creator would be a good name. The other name, We Are Mutants, is a nod to Wanda's No More Mutants, which came after she found out her memories of Billy and Tommy were wiped from her. We Are Mutants is also special because it's the pride that Wiccan has, in multiple ways, for being a mutant and of mutant kind, and also sexuality. Something that is very important to the mutants in the comics, and more recently in X-Men 97, the show that recently just came out, where they take pride in who they are. Anyways, what does the power even do? Well, it's a super powered buff version of Arcane Surge, where he releases a blast that heals all enemies and maybe gives them a temporary buff to their attack or speed, or both, aka the complete opposite of Reality Erasure. Speed. A speedster in a game like this could be difficult, which is why Blizzard stopped at Tracer. So my version of Speed, the forgotten twin of Wiccan, he should be a duelist. The main attack should be fast and swift punches, similar to how Iron Fist fights. Just how I gave Wiccan charges, I want Speed to have charges as well. Kinetic charges that build up passively could be used to strengthen or use certain abilities. To get into his abilities, the first one I want to mention is his dash. Give Speed a dash that allows him to get across the map quicker than any other character in the game. He can start off at spawn and then immediately already be at his enemy spawn. The second ability for Speed should allow him to slide and knock down characters, stunning them for a moment, similar to how Doctor Strange can stun his enemies. This stun can also maybe deal damage since it knocks them down and makes them fall. Speed's third ability should be a stronger punch powered by his kinetic charges. It could be used to start a fight with heavy damage than normal punches to finish them off, or vice versa. The fourth and last ability should be that Speed is able to use a kinetically charged gun. So, something he could shoot once he has kinetic charges. Maybe the more charges put into it would determine how strong it is. And maybe the blast can have some knockback to it, pushing opponents away. As a quick passive, I think Speed should have the fastest base movement in the game compared to any other character. He is a speedster, let him be fast. Lastly, his special. There should be a surge that is similar to Wiccan and Wanda's. A kinetic surge that would release a wave of kinetic energy released in all directions. It's similar to how Black Panther's kinetic energy works in the Black Panther movies. Again, these are all rough, and I am not a game designer, so let me know what you guys think in the comments. Now, even though I listed my 10 most wanted characters, I wanted to include a special 11th character that could be fun. The way I envision this character is most likely how they're going to be introduced, but I don't see it happening anytime soon, considering I have already seen people pray it doesn't happen. Who am I talking about? Well, it's my favorite female hero in Marvel, the comic geek just like us. It's Miss Marvel. Specifically the Miss Marvel from the MCU show. With Mr. Fantastic on the way, along with the rest of the Fantastic Four, Miss Marvel from the show is the next best choice for her, because she is similar but different enough to differentiate in abilities. Number 11, Miss Marvel. I think Kamala's comic power wouldn't necessarily fit in entirely. So, my move list for Miss Marvel is this. Miss Marvel should be a duelist, with her main attack as her crystal light punches. She could throw her fist like Min Min from Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, where she could hit you from across the map, which is likely how I see them doing Mr. Fantastic in the near future. For her first ability, Miss Marvel should be able to create platforms that she and her other allies can jump onto. This could help with mobility and gaining vantage points, or going after flying characters. We can't all be like Iron Fist hunting down Iron Man from in the air. The second ability could be Miss Marvel using her arms to swing herself forward, similar to how Moon Knight's grapple works or Spider-Man's swing. The third ability allows Miss Marvel to create a crystal light shield, similarly to how she creates a shield in the show. Just like in the show, the shield can slowly whittle down based on damage taken, so the surface she protects gets smaller and smaller. When looking for a fourth ability for Miss Marvel, I was thinking maybe something for offense, but from the standing point of the show, her main attacks were always her fist. But one thing I did point out was her sliding using her crystals. With that, the fourth ability could be her creating a crystal light slide that allows her and other allies to get to areas quickly, allowing her to slide in and out of battles fast. This could be a similar ability given to Iceman if he were to ever join the game. Lastly, her special should be her embiggened state at the end of the series, where she becomes bigger and more resilient. In this state, she could strike harder, move a bit faster because of her longer steps, and with a crystallite body, she could take reduced damage similar to Hulk's special. A very amazing ability list that I think could work perfectly well for a MCU-styled Miss Marvel. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. With all that done, this is my list of 11 characters I would love to see in the game. I have ideas for other characters like Kingpin, Nova, or even Scorpion, but I'll let you guys decide if you want to see more content like this from me in the future. Until the next video, be sure to subscribe, like, comment, and share the channel around. And I'll see you all in the next video. You bunch of losers. Whoa, don't leave, don't leave, don't leave, don't leave, don't leave. Okay, real quick. Future loser here, coming to you live. So I was supposed to be putting this video out as the second video of me coming back. But because Marvel Rivals decided that they wanted to, just throw content out so fast, and because of holidays and editing, it's taken me a while to get this video out. So, real quick, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for getting to the end of the video if you're still here. If you're a longtime viewer, thank you so much for coming back and being loyal to my channel. I really do appreciate that. And if you're new here, please be sure to, check out my older content and, look forward to the new content I'll be pushing out. I want to try doing more edited style videos like this and just overall different styled gaming videos. But yeah, with that being said, like past me said, thank you. Like, comment, subscribe, share the video around, get the channel around, and yeah, I will see you all in the next video, you bunch of losers.